Sure, fighting is fighting, but there are definitely fighting styles that seem a bit more chill than the rest. Look at some Muay Thai fighters going at it, and then watch some 10th Planet Jiu-Jitsu guys training, and you'll see the grapplers tend to be a bit more on the chill side of the spectrum. But there are moments when grapplers run out of chill. In this video, we'll be looking at just that. Be it aggressive wrestling matches that turn into full-on fights, or jiu-jitsu rules being broken, these grapplers lost their cool and got aggressive. Here are when grapplers get angry. The guy in the red singlet has some anger issues. It's not like he's getting dominated or anything, but he's having a rough time getting what he wants in this match. But rather than acting like anyone over the age of 6, he pouts and shoves his opponent's face. This is totally immature, and he's given a really solid slam for his actions. Shout out to Caden Henschel on TikTok for the footage. I don't know if this is pure skill or skill coupled with karma, but I do know that I absolutely love this kind of content. Seriously, throwing a slap in a wrestling match? That's a terrible look. He was probably slapping himself in the back after he got handled like this, though.
Put that boy in the face! Put that boy in the face!
Okay, so I'm gonna call out these fighters a little bit. This is titled Wrestler versus Kickboxer. And it's sort of that, but really, none of these guys are that great at their respective and/or claimed martial art. The wrestler is wrestling though, that's for sure. He looks bored, and he's ragdolling his opponent, but he really doesn't know what to do after getting the takedowns. And that's why the kickboxer keeps returning to his feet. Sure, he's just taken down again, but he's getting back up to his feet. You see the wrestler start to fight with more and more anger. Perhaps it's because he's unable to keep his opponent down. Either way, he's putting a lot of energy into scoring these takedowns and throwing these sloppy punches. The kickboxer begins finding his mark near the end of the fight, but it's a little too late for that. The fight goes a distance, and the wrestler left with his hand raised. Shout out to Street Beefs for this fight.
After 3 rounds of war, we have your winner.
The wrestler in blue was getting manhandled until he got beat up so hard that he hit Super Saiyan 2 out of desperation. Now, a lot of people may think that the wrestler in the black deserved a punch in the face, but he didn't. Sure, he was toying with his opponent a little bit and posting on his head, but that's all part of wrestling. He's racking up points by scoring these takedowns. And if he's posting on his opponent's head, his opponent is going to struggle a lot more than if not. I really don't see anything dirty about this other than the sucker punch from the guy in blue. Shame on him, but I'm selfishly happy that it happened because this video made me laugh. I don't know all the rules of wrestling. I'm a jiu-jitsu guy who pulls guard, so I barely know what a takedown even is. I do know that getting slammed is probably going to happen now and again when wrestling, and that it shouldn't be a punchable offense. However, the kid who got slammed here went straight to throwing some hands. This dude was boxing off his back like he's Vitor Belfort. Thankfully, the guy who landed the slam didn't feel like landing any elbows to retaliate.
You don't want it, Jordan? Woo. You don't want it, little bitch.
Jordan Burroughs is no joke. He's easily one of the best wrestlers of all time, especially when looking at modern competition. However, his opponent, Anwar Gedweb, is quite a competitor himself. You can see both guys getting irritated just with the early goings of the match. Both are trying to control the other's head and make them a bit hesitant to shoot for a takedown. Jordan is known for his blast doubles, so you really want to do anything you can to try and stop him from even trying that. So the match was very heated, but once it got going, we can see how technically sound both guys are. It's truly a chess match out there. And even if you're not the biggest wrestling fan, you can appreciate how even these skill sets are. The restraint that we're seeing here from some of these wrestlers is pretty awesome. I mean, if someone I was beating in a match came at me with a right hand, I'd probably be doing my best impersonation of Jorge Masvidal by throwing a knee. Granted, mine would be far less athletic, and I'd probably tear so many things on my legs, but yeah, this one was intense. Kudos to the wrestler in red for not fighting back, and still somehow ending up on top. Pause the video now if you're allergic to secondhand embarrassment. You were warned. This bodybuilder walked into this MMA gym and thought that his physique would win him a grappling match. Well, that was so far from the truth. His muscles only slowed him down, and the coach slapped him around like a floor tom. Then one of the women's purple belts wanted to toy with the guy. And that she did. She snapped him down, took his back, and choked him until the lights shut off. This just goes to show you how well jiu-jitsu works. I don't know where things went wrong between these two, but it's an aggressive match right away. The dude in the light singlet is absolutely dog-walking his opponent, hitting him with a lateral drop and pretty much slamming him at will. This edit is a rather one-sided one. I'm not sure if these guys are super aggressive or if they're just not that great at the sport. The highlights of the match are them pushing each other off the mats because nobody knows how to turn the corner when shooting for a takedown, apparently. These guys just kept pushing each other out of bounds, and one of the coaches actually had to yell at them after they nearly linebackered a couple of kids. He yelled at them and said he'd handle them both if they did it again. But that wasn't going to happen because the refs stopped this match after that. This ended in a double disqualification.
Hey man, y'all need to fucking chill out. Both of y'all motherfuckers need to chill the fuck out. You gonna hit a fucking kid, I'll fuck both of y'all up.
This is what happens when you get buzzed. Watch your first UFC event and sign up for a local jiu-jitsu tournament. The guy in the black clearly has no idea what he's doing, and it shows in about 10 seconds of the match. He's out there almost in a fighting stance, and he's throwing some slight slaps. One of his slaps even results in an eye poke. Regardless, the match goes on, and we finally get to some grappling. His opponent is locking him up in an armbar from the bottom, and it looks pretty good. The newbie then picks his opponent up and slams him, which is another violation against the rules, and he's then disqualified. This much is just uncalled for. I don't know the backstory, but as a nosy man who loves drama, I need to know. Who is he flipping off? And why? Did the guy he's flipping off sabotage his rock opera like BoJack? Did he steal the man's first love? Or did he say he has weird-looking ears? I need to know. We need to know. I don't want to dog on the late Orlando Sanchez much, but he has a tendency to try and hurt people. In this match, he may have forgotten the rules, or he was looking for an easy way out and slammed his opponent. I know a lot of people are going to say that slams should be legal, but hey, this is about finding who has better jiu-jitsu, not who can get on top and deadlift more. Slams are cool, but there are rules, and they need to be abided by.
A legal technique here, and who's number one? Slams out of submissions.
Keeps trying to make me roll with her.
Okay, so I know he's not actually angry, but the girl was pushing his buttons and she got what she asked for. Not only did this guy shoot a beautiful takedown, but using his hat to set it up was really slick. And I'm definitely going to see if I can sneak a few hats in for my next tournament. The girl is a half spider monkey though. This dude just can't find a good spot to fully take her down and get his offense going. I don't know if you all follow or know much about Jake Shields, but he knows how to push buttons. So when another former UFC fighter, Mike Jackson, called him out on Twitter, Jake ran into him and decided it was going to be on site, as we can see. Jake Shields did have the chance to fight Paul Harris, another controversial figure in the fight scene. While Jake is controversial for his tone-deaf tweets, Paul Harris is controversial for holding on to submissions for way too long, which has resulted in him being cut from the UFC. Jake got caught in a Kimura after landing a takedown, and Paul Harris cranked that arm like he wanted to take it home with him. Shields began tapping, and Paul Harris, in typical fashion, ignored it. Well, the ref finally got Paul Harris to let go, and then Jake threw an extra punch. It's safe to say that this is one of the longest submissions held after an initial tap.
He rolls out the Kimura, but this is it! It's all over! And once again, Paul Harris maintains the hold. Clearly the tap is coming and the...
So, there's no subtlety here. They go from fighting for hands to fighting by throwing hands. These girls lost their chance at winning a $10 medal in a tournament that they paid $100 to get into. Was it worth it? Yeah, that was heavy on the sarcasm, but really, it was very silly. How are you going to train for so long and then get irritated when someone accidentally slaps you a bit too hard during a match?
Oh, shit.
Sean Strickland probably had this coming, to be completely honest, but it still doesn't mean that Orlando Sanchez wasn't a jerk for it. Submissions are cool, because they don't need to hurt. If you think you see someone tap early, it's not because they're cowardly, but because they know they've been caught, and tapping is better than getting injured for no reason. However, the arm crank that Sanchez hits Strickland with doesn't give the opportunity to tap. It's more of a strike than it is a submission. So Sean had every right to be mad and throw a spinning back fist and then a teep kick.
Today, 6'1", 205 pounds with a record of 8-3.
The most iconic knockouts in MMA history. It really doesn't get any cooler than this.
All the way. Oh, he knocks him out.
And remember, we said Corona was busy going for the triangle choke, something like this. A high-angle, powerbomb-like slam.
In what was one of the biggest rivalries in grappling history and set up an iconic match, we got to see Gordon Ryan slap Andre Galvao twice. We also saw things heat up afterwards during Ryan's interview, and a fight nearly erupt between the two.
Beat the fuck out of you in front of everybody. I will beat the fuck out of you in front of everybody in the room. Keep talking. Why would I do that? Keep talking. Keep talking.
Things would end in respect as these two legends went to war. Gordon Ryan walked away with the win, but respect was earned from both sides as they were able to put this rivalry to bed. So this one started out kind of heated, but both athletes seemed apologetic to some degree. That wouldn't last long. The actions moving forward were pretty aggressive, and the taunts from the man on bottom had the athlete on top a bit heated. The referee got involved and tried to assuage the situation, but when these guys got back at it, a brawl erupted nearly immediately, and everyone in a 5-mile radius got involved. In a quintet ultra match, James Krause and King Mo went at it. Krause locks in a guillotine choke almost immediately and then lets go. That's when things got chaotic. King Mo acted like he didn't tap, but an alternate angle shows he definitely had some hand gestures going on. Kraus seemed a bit upset at first, but the camaraderie set in, and all was well shortly after.
Well, that's the same angle.
Yeah, he tapped. It looked like a tap with that right arm.
He tapped.
The thing about tournaments like this is these people are usually spying to be part of it, so getting yourself disqualified is pretty silly. However, the shorter guy here prioritizes ego over getting his money's worth. He was beefing with his taller opponent for what seems to be a lack of engagement, which usually translates to, "My game isn't working on this guy now, so I'm upset and blaming everything but myself." The slap was overboard, even if the taller guy wasn't doing much. The guy on top is throwing what we like to call a temper tantrum. He's not able to pass his opponent's guard, and that's why he's just posting on the legs. Rather than trying to create a scramble where he puts himself at risk, he just slams his opponent. What's worse is that he's celebrating like he won, when in reality he was handled, couldn't deal with it, and took an easy way out so he wouldn't get submitted. Baiting an opponent is certainly a strategy in jiu-jitsu, but it's not really going to earn anyone any fans. This is AJ Agazarm, and he's definitely in the heel category of jiu-jitsu competitors. He's not engaging at all, but he's also taunting and trying to get his opponent to engage. And yeah, there's a lot of stalling and tactics in jiu-jitsu that take away from the fight aspect, but AJ isn't doing anything here himself. And yeah, he got disqualified for being a bit of a baby. As you can see, that happens a lot in jiu-jitsu. On the opposite side of the AJ Agazarm coin, here he is putting some pressure on his opponent when needed. His opponent keeps taunting, but the thing is, it's hard to taunt when you're getting taken down at will. That's like eating a 1-2 combination in a boxing match and then saying, "Come on, try to hit me."
Just trying to rile the American up, who shoots a lovely power double for the takedown.
And to wrap things up, how about the most iconic moment where a grappler gets frustrated? Here is Dylan Dennis, a pretty darn good grappler, out of his element. He found himself boxing Logan Paul. Yeah, Logan isn't the best boxer, but he's far from bad. So with that said, I don't think Dylan did as bad as people say he did. But he did get desperate in the final round and tried to make an MMA fight out of a boxing match, which was super bizarre. That does it for the video. How'd you like the content? Let us know down below. Be sure to like the video and share it. It really does help us out. What do you want to see next? Let us know. Subscribe and hit that bell icon to make sure you never miss any uploads. Catch you next time.